All right, cool. But yep, honestly, that was it. We were down in the garage lifting Buddy's Jeep.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. Didn't go as smooth as we would have liked, but that's okay though. That's all right. It's still
It's part
complete.
part of the fun. Now you have know-how with cars too. Are you just like anything that
Yeah,
needs to be done, you can do?
yeah, I can do stuff, right? Because of my job, right? The job we do, it's just you're constantly fixing stuff that maybe you've never seen before, you've never done. So it's like my uncle actually has got an expression, God hates a coward. And sometimes you just dive in and it's like, we'll just figure it out.
So there's a little bit of intuition there too. You're just like,
Yeah, yeah,
this I've seen something similar to this. If it works the way the other things work, it should be
exactly.
like this.
Exactly.
Hmm,
Yeah. And
got it.
actually with the job I do now, I do half my job hanging from ropes.
Huh.
So like I'll be like 60, 70 feet in the air hanging on a rope, cranking on some flanges and stuff like that.
Yeesh. So you're
Yeah.
good with heights.
Yeah, heights are no problem. No problem
No
with heights.
problem.
Yeah,
No
no problem
problem.
with heights. I was talking the other day, and the only time I ever get nervous is actually scuba diving.
I mean,
And
that
then
makes sense.
I
So
feel
the
out of my
opposite of
element there.
heights.
Yeah, I feel out of my element there. I'll do it and I'm fine. But I'm like, I no longer feel dominant.
I've actually never been, and I would
Oh,
imagine that it's just like, well, I don't know. I feel like I'd be okay just because there's not this imminent threat like
mm,
like heights. I'm okay if I have equipment, I can trust
yeah,
equipment, but if I'm just like around a cliff, I don't really like that very much.
yeah,
I've never done like a hot air balloon. I don't see that. I don't believe that would be enjoyable at all. But like you're just not like in the water. That's not where we're supposed to be.
exactly. That's their territory.
That's not us.
It's not us, right? Yeah.
Never been us.
I did a scuba dive in Jamaica and I was like under the shipwreck and the shipwreck's on like an angle, right? It's not a huge shipwreck, but it's been like maybe 100 feet long, something like that. And
That's cool.
it's been there forever, right? It's
Right.
been there forever, but it's on an angle and I'm on the bottom and I'm like, if this thing moves, I am so fucked. Just
Yeah.
crushed. So I'm getting the hell
Right.
out of there. So
You think it would move slow though? Maybe you can swim out of that. What was the story with that? Was it like pirates smuggling rum,
I don't think
freaking
so.
ship
It
in
wasn't like,
Jamaica,
no, it was more like a modern day shipwreck, not so much cool piratey, just like,
like a
Carnival
Carnival cruise?
Carnival, probably something like that. Yeah.
Well,
Probably
that's
some
cool.
tanker, some small
Yeah.
tanker that just,
Right. Right.
yeah, went down. But all right, business. I don't want to be too Matt-like and talking about other crap.
I can
That's
go with it if that's how
that's
you want
no,
this to go, and we'll
that's
cover
Matt's
nothing.
job. He can
We'll,
talk crazy crap with you.
we'll cover nothing. I took notes. You sent me stuff. I was
I
sitting here
did.
thinking about it. I got notes here, man. I
All right.
even wrote in a legible way so I can reread my notes.
I keep mine on
So
the phone because I am
uh,
incapable of writing in a legible way.
I I I have a notebook. I try to write in it every day, but if I went back and tried to read anything of it, it just would not. Like I can't even read my own stuff.
I'm technically dyslexic. So
Oh,
like when I write on the whiteboard for workouts and stuff, it's just gibberish. It's like
yeah,
only I can figure it out. And I just read what I think should be there.
right. I struggle
But
with that with
yeah,
with spelling as well, so I have to kind of make it out. Like, yeah, this seems to make this sounds like what I think the word should be.
everything we put out for the podcast, my wife proofreads.
Oh, nice.
And she's good with grammar, punctuation, everything. So it's because if I did it, it would be so bad.
Dude, technology's been really clutch the past couple of years. I have
Mm,
this service called Grammarly, um, which is just basically like spell check on steroids, and it will just
mhm.
like structure your sentences and everything. And it has just been so helpful for me to try to like get stuff out there. Because if it was just me, wouldn't happen.
I obviously I text with Bethany all the time, and she's told me before, she's like, if I didn't know you, I would swear you're a complete fucking moron.
Well, well because that's just like how we're
Mhm.
judged in school and everything. It's
Yeah,
like being able to just regurgitate whatever is written and like taking notes. Just it's not for everybody.
that's
It's
right.
not
But we
for
see who
everybody.
you call when you need your Jeep lifted. That's right.
Right, they funnel you into the Jeep lifting direction at an early age. This is where you were meant to be. For me,
Exactly.
lifting weights.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm
and it
getting better
worked.
at that. Dude, I'm an actual CrossFitter. Look, I got a tear on my thumb from the
Ah, what have you
barbell.
been doing? Some barbell stuff? Some
Yeah,
cleans?
yeah. I did some,
Wow.
oh, it's my Tara. She programmed me cleans. I don't know what's up with that. But
And you can do them?
Yeah, I can do them. I'm not great at them. It's like anything. I do everything I do with weightlifting is pure
You're just
strength, no
muscling
skill.
it.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
muscle
yeah,
on it.
yeah.
And that's what you like. And full credit, you called it exactly what I did on the CrossFit on the open. Couldn't do double unders. That's why I didn't turn in the second
Skipped
workout.
it.
Yeah, well, I did a version of it. I did box overs instead of double unders, but I mean, you can't submit
You don't
that.
want to do the singles?
I didn't wanna. I did. Yeah, I didn't want to scale it because I did RX in the first one, and that's so I did box overs, and it was actually probably worse and took way longer. And then
Uh, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Box jump over is not great.
yeah, yeah.
Takes longer for
So
sure.
and then the last one, like you say, bar muscle ups. I am that guy right now that I'm strong enough. There's no doubt in my mind. Like I'm doing heavy
Yeah.
weighted pull ups. But it's like I go to do a muscle up and I'm like smashing my chest into the bar that the squat rack is moving.
Straight up.
Yeah, pretty
It's
much.
just
So I've,
I
I've,
actually had I got ring muscle ups before bar muscle ups because there was something like in terms of a skill, bar should be a little bit easier because it is fixed and
mhm.
you can just press down on it. But there was something about like having the weight, like having a barrier over my head that
Mm,
was a bit of a mental thing where with the rings, you just go right through it.
wide open.
Yeah. Can you do rings?
Never tried.
I bet you could even do strict. I bet if you do a false grip, you could just like
Yeah,
get,
yeah, like I could hopefully. I don't
yeah.
know. We'll see. I gotta actually I've talked to her. I make an appointment with Carolyn Prevo and we're gonna go for
Oh,
some
cool.
squat lessons. So
That'd be, is she local to you?
she's about just under an hour away from me.
No, nice.
Yeah, she's awesome. Fifth in the games in the open this year.
She did?
Yeah, she
She
came
is,
fifth.
she's back. So I was going to ask if she's going to be competing again.
I
How old is
think
she?
she's in her 30s. I think it took her by surprise too.
That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Like she's always super fit, right? Like she's pro hockey player. She was Taekwondo champ. Um, but
And she's a
full-time
bit
coach.
like that as an athlete. Like she's like engine, like
Yeah,
grunt work,
yeah,
and
yeah,
she can really put out.
yeah. I think the best she's done is 13th at the games, which is still freaking amazing.
That's great.
Yeah.
Just making it to the games is incredible.
And girl can eat tacos. Man, we had her over here. We had tacos for dinner. They
Soft shell, hard
crushed
shell,
them.
doesn't
Soft
matter.
shell, homemade, beautiful tacos.
Nice. Homemade tortillas?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
the wife takes care of me, man.
Corn, wheat,
I think they're wheat. I think they're wheat.
gotta be wheat. Gotta be wheat.
Yeah. All right. All right. First question.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So the reason I wanted to talk to you is because you and I kind of get detail orientated on what is hybrid, what's not hybrid, la
Mhm.
da da da, barbells suck, all that shit. And it's cool. And I like getting the little jabs on race brain. That always makes me laugh. It makes my commute. I smile on my commute, so that's always cool. But
This guy can't do dubs, skip the workout.
next,
Unbelievable. Very believable, in fact.
yeah, very believable. So first thing we're gonna do, define hybrid racing. All right. I actually have a definition.
Okay. I wrote one too.
All right, all right. Well, you do yours first. You get your hit yours out.
No, you're excited. You wanted to, you go first.
All right, all right, all right, all right. There we go. All right. Hybrid racing hybrid race is a race that must have a start and a finish point.
Hmm.
That race must include a single or multiple forms of basic low skill cardiovascular endurance modalities, such as but not limited to running, bikerg, skierg. The race must also include single or multiple forms of basic low skill strength or fitness modalities, such as but not limited to pushing, pulling, lifting, carrying. That's it.
I have some issues with it.
All right, good. Let me hear
Want to hear
yours,
mine?
and I'll
Want to
tell
hear
you why
mine?
you're wrong.
So I have a functional fitness race with a bias toward aerobic endurance.
With a bias toward the okay, okay.
And
That's
that's
it.
it.
That's
That's
it. All
it.
right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. First problem I have, and I
Hmm.
have problems with my own definition.
All right. Let's hear all the problems you have.
Okay, so first problem I have with yours, though, and it's the same thing. It's the word with a bias towards. It's very vague,
Uh-huh.
and that's where the problem I get into is how do you separate hybrid racing from CrossFit,
Hmm.
or is in your mind CrossFit hybrid racing?
Well, I think that's where the race take like
Mhm.
the start and finish, where I think CrossFit is kind of like a stage event. I would call like CrossFit competition an event where
Multi
hybrid,
multi-event fitness competition.
yes.
Yeah, I got a
Is
definition
that
for that too.
that's what you have, that's how I did that's the main thing that would differentiate, and we'll get into some of the details later about how to like split the bias of aerobic endurance, because obviously CrossFitters do have aerobic endurance,
Oh
but a
yeah.
lot of their stuff is spent anaerobic or even just like straight glycolytic, where they are just having to lift something that is so heavy that they need to bring their
Hmm.
aerobic like system down. They got to down regulate things. So there's like kind of a line there, and I was kind of playing around with it. I was like trying to figure out where that line is between like aerobic threshold that would kind of make it more of an endurance event. And a lot of times CrossFit will be there for
Yeah.
sure, especially high end CrossFitters. But the multi event
The event
fitness
fitness competition.
competition,
Yeah.
that is the difference to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then you can have your lifting for max weight. You can have your max weight for
No, no
three
aerobic,
reps.
no aerobic like in that at all.
Yeah, exactly. You can have a single rep max. You can do whatever you want as far as that thing because, and then you can have a run alongside of it. You can do whatever, right? The CrossFit Games. Um, Again, some people are calling like Ethics is another hybrid race. To me, it's not. Ethics is CrossFit to me. I don't know if you
Now,
went
I'm
through
not
that one too
super
much.
familiar. Is it multi event?
Yeah, so there seems to be three stages, right?
Okay.
So there's like a
Oh,
stage.
ethics. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
Ethics. Okay. I was thinking of RX1.
So RX1, I used to call a hybrid race, and I was doing that before because it was almost my way to say when we started doing the rankings that we weren't
You
including.
just wanted a Canadian in there.
Well, there was that,
Like
yeah.
I'm putting a Canadian in, so RX1 counts.
But now I don't have to because
Now you have
Maria's up there.
Austin.
I
Yeah,
got Austin,
Maria's
I got
on
Maria, I
there.
got Jesse Bruce
Right.
now, so
Jesse
it's okay.
Bruce.
But it's no, it was kind of my thing to say like, hey, look at this other stuff that we're not looking at
Hmm. Hmm.
that we consider hybrid racing, blah blah blah. But then, and actually, you kind of called me on it away on when we were chatting one time. I don't consider it hybrid racing anymore because on the pro division, it's just too high skill. It is CrossFit. Like there is no separator to be honest. It's like a CrossFit event. When you actually drop down the levels of ability, then it becomes more like a hybrid race because the skill level drops.
Hmm.
If you're like expert and pro, it would be like CrossFit, and then down to intermediate and below would be more like, be more of a hybrid race because there's nothing even as skilled as a rope, right?
So the skill component is where you
Yeah,
lose me.
exactly.
You lose me. I don't see why there can't be skills kind of built into these races as long as it's not insurmountable.
Hmm.
I believe there are some skills that like you just can't overcome, and there are other pieces that I think you can probably just do. Like a clean is a good example.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're like, it's definitely if you have more skill in Olympic lifts, you'll be able to move through it better. It'll be more efficient.
Yep.
But you could just pick that thing up,
Yeah. So
like
the
it's
problem that I run into is with the gymnastic movements and stuff like that,
mm,
and some movements, an overhead squat. You
yes.
can't you can't go to like anybody on the street and say, even with a broomstick, and say do a proper overhead squat with this. A lot of them are not going to be able to do it, right?
I
So
think that's
that's where
fair.
I think that's a
Yeah.
high skill. A pistol squat,
A
right?
pistol. Did have that one written down as
Yeah, it
well.
requires so much balance and stuff like that.
I was back and forth on pistol squat because I have like a list of
Okay,
like skills that, and I don't know if we're jumping ahead.
who cares?
If we're jumping ahead, what was your say? Oh yeah, okay. No, I guess this led right in. We did our
Yeah,
definition and like what belongs.
yeah. Go ahead. What
Um,
belongs? What belongs? So you say a pistol squat, you back and forth on?
I was, uh, but a lot of these skills they end up being like something like a pistol or even like a clean, like we'll say clean or a front squat, for example. Like overhead squat's a great example of this as well. It's like it it's not that technically difficult, but there's range of motion and mobility issues
Yep.
that will make it just not doable
Yeah.
for a lot of athletes. So I don't necessarily like a double under. That's more of a skill
Yeah.
where like it's just kind of doing two things at once, kind of, and it's
Yep.
just practice. It's not strength. It is just kind of like a skill. I think like what would be like a ring muscle up is another example of that.
Yeah. This
Right?
high
Like
skill.
you can have this strength, you can have this skill, like but you can have the strength, but like you might not have the coordination and the skill, and just trying to kind
Yeah.
of get up there. Um, and that's where I was kind of losing it. I was like, well, a pistol's like not that high skill. It's just like there's a range of motion limitations for a lot of people,
Yeah.
and that could be said about the wall balls as well, though.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Right?
could be, but the wall ball to me, okay, like a pistol squat, I guess And pistol squat's something that I struggle with,
Yeah, it's hard.
due to piss poor ankle mobility,
Uh-huh.
right? So I have to like lean so far forward to maintain my balance, right? So I'm with you there. The wall ball thing, I don't know if a lot of people is struggle with the entire mobility, or is it just like, I don't know, they're just not going down far enough. Like,
And that's the thing that can be overcome, right? Like
yeah,
if you slow down and you're paying attention to how deep, like you could
yes,
probably get there. Like you might have to stop at the bottom or like really go real slow to get that depth
get a
and come
real
up.
wide stance.
So, yeah, like there's ways that you can overcome like those mobility limitations. And that's kind of like again where I'm like trying to draw this line. Like what are things that you can always do if you really wanted to, but you might not be able to do it as effective as
Yeah,
someone who has like the proper mobility. Um, yeah, so overhead squat, like there's like where the ones I had that were like a no,
okay.
were like handstand walks, just
Yeah,
because like there's nothing you could if you don't have that skill, you just can't do it.
no,
You can't get through it. Like handstand push-ups, I think some people just have a like mental block getting upside down.
like, are you talking like a strip, but like you're not talking obviously a freestanding handstand pusher. You're talking like
No, no, no.
leaning against a wall or something.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Is that
Yeah, freestanding is basically the same as a handstand walk, but harder.
yeah. So I'm with you because a freestanding or not freestanding, a an aided, you know, with a wall handstand push up is just a matter of power output.
Yeah.
It's a range of motion most people are able to do. And if you were to say take away weight from them, they would be able to perform the movement. So I would
Mm-hmm.
actually be okay with that
Mm. Nice.
because I don't think it's a super high skill. It's no different to me than a military press and an overhead press.
Yeah.
It's just it takes a lot of strength.
It takes strength. And again, there's a little bit of just like overcoming upside down. It's
Yeah.
kind of like the scuba diving, like it's just like mental block. You have air, you can breathe it, you're swimming down, but it's just like, hey, I'm not supposed to be here. Being upside down, same thing. Being
Yeah.
upside down. Okay. So handstand push-ups, they're in.
Yeah,
Great.
I'm okay with that.
Great. Um, I had snatch as a no-go.
Like an over like a
Barbell.
barbell snatch. No,
Barbell snatch.
not a chance.
Barbell
Way
snatch is
too
no
high
go.
skill. My shoulders are scared just talking about
Yeah, and it just takes a long time. It just takes
it.
a long
Well,
time to get better at something like that.
yeah, yeah. I would be okay with with not snatch calling it ground to overhead
Yeah.
because then you can again you could put it up into a clean, you can muscle it up, you can get anywhere from the ground to pushing over your head in any fashion you want. I'm okay with that. The snatch has that specific wide grip movement that is quite frankly terrifying.
Right. Where you have to basically skip everything, throw it all the way up. Okay. A ground overhead, I think that's fair. But
Yeah.
then a dumbbell snatch, I think is pretty low skill. That's just grip and rip.
Yeah, actually I'm okay with that. And that to me, I think is one of the moves that I'm surprised nobody has used yet. But I
Yeah.
think the reason being is judging on lockout is, and that's, I mean, we can get to that too when we talk about judging and stuff. And when you're picking different
I didn't have
moves.
that on my list. You didn't mention judging, and I should have known I was going to get ambushed
Dude,
with a
that's I'm all about judging. That's all I do.
Oh my
Bitch about judging.
god. I
No,
should have
but
had that right. I should have prepared for nothing but the judging
yeah.
conversation.
No, but
Um,
I like the snatch with the dumbbell because again, like you say, it's pure power output and also from a safety issue. Like if you get a bailout on a dumbbell snatch, it's not a big deal.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, you're pretty safe, right? It's not that big. And again, you don't even have to call it snatch. It can just be ground to overhead,
true,
right?
true.
So that's why, because then you're not, it doesn't matter, right? Like say grip and rip. If you got to stop halfway, you got to whatever. And so that's why I think that's actually a good move that people don't have, that nobody's
Takes
used yet.
takes a lot of the shoulder mobility out too, like because you get a
Mhm.
little bit more freedom to move that shoulder joint.
And you can kind
Uh,
of put the lean on it on one side so that you can,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
exactly.
yeah.
Um, so I think that would be okay, especially on the we don't have to jump to the judging. We're gonna
I know
do
how to fix that one.
well with the Ram burpees they're doing now. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah, that one's gone to shit though. I don't think the judging's gone very well.
No, just for one event though.
Well, I mean, I've seen a lot of events, right? So I've seen the fit, but I've also seen a lot of miles and strongs and whatnot.
Oh well, those are always going to be a mess.
I know, but even still, I
Those
mean,
are always going to be a mess.
if you just take Knoxville and just watch that, like there was a lot of not perfect. And I've said this before, the Ram burpee thing needed to be fixed. We all agree with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, totally need to be fixed. Looked terrible. But right now, what's going to happen is it's slowly going to creep back down. And even when I watched Knoxville,
Probably.
yeah, when I watched Knoxville, I saw some people who were doing really good, but I also saw some people who weren't doing really good. But it was close. And I mean, you know, it's yourself, range of motion, a lot of people can't lock out all the way. We had that in the open with that one girl who,
Rebecca Fuselier.
yeah,
Yeah, her
who
elbow
was,
angle's all funny.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, how do you judge who can lock out, who can't? That's why that lockout thing is a bit of a sketchy deal. Um, but it becomes that close gray area again. And then just like, you know, just like anybody cheating on a test at school, just slowly gets better. And then they'll have to get to slam it back to get better. It is better, but I'm still not sure that's the best way to go. I had a different method for the snatches with the dumbbell or ground to overhead with the dumbbell. And that was quite simply ground to overhead. Don't worry about full lockout. And this is why I like the dumbbell too, because it's the easiest spot to hold it overhead is at full lockout.
Hmm.
And then you
Hmm.
have to step forward 1 meter, do another line. Then you can put it down and do the next rep. Step forward a meter to the other line, put it down, do the next rep. But you have to hold it over your head while you're stepping forward.
You're carrying it forward,
Exactly.
overhead.
Yeah.
Huh.
So it's
Okay.
best to have it at full lockout because that's the easiest way to carry it overhead. But if you're bent and you're overhead, who cares? If you want to waste your energy that way, go ahead.
Huh. I like the idea of moving things forward
Hmm.
when we're talking about like different ways to add things in. So what else then with high skill? Like we
Okay, so
have
here's
snatches out,
snatches
ring
out
muscle
for
up
sure.
out, handstand walk is out.
Handstand walks is out. Muscle ups out.
I think bar is okay.
You think bar's okay? Really? But here's the thing. If even if I was to take away like 50% of someone's weight with with bands and whatnot, most of them still couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, yeah, I know.
You know what I
But
mean?
I
And
think
that's how I look. That's how, and that's kind of in my head when I struggled. And this is to say, the problem I have with my definition is the word low skill, high skill is where
uh,
that line hits.
yes.
So the way I started to put it in my head is if the movement, if I can tell anybody and I can just show them once, okay, like for example, a squat, I'm going to show you how to do your squat. You're down to this level, you stand back up. Great. You might not be able to do it with the weight we want, but you can do the movement, right? You get on an assault bike. Great. You might not be fantastic at it, but you can do it. So
Right.
anything that I think that I can tell the vast majority of the population to do in one try with super lightweight or no weight at all, to me is low skill.
So you wouldn't even put a pull up in here.
But see, a pull up, I think if you
But
take
this,
people way away, you can do, right? Like if
uh,
you know those machines that they got in the gym where
yeah,
they kneel on them. So if you take the weight away, I think that that's a low enough skill. The one that gets me that I hate this because according to my definition should be out, which sucks because I really want it in, is a rope climb.
I had that as a question mark.
So here's where it gets me. And this is the interesting part. A rope climb, a legless rope climb,
Uh-huh.
I would have in because it's
No,
just brute strength, and a rope climb with feet, I would have out because it's a technique.
it's so much easier though.
You
If you
know?
can figure out that technique for 1 second, do you do leg? Are you a legless rope climb person? Do you not have the foot hook
Oh no, I
situation?
do. I'm great with the foot
Okay,
hook.
good.
I'm good. I can do either. I'm fine with it. I just do the legless for exercise. But on a Spartan race or whatever, I use legs all the time.
Oh yeah, gotta.
It's just
That's what I had a bit of a question mark on that.
where do you think that one lies?
Well, when I'm looking at this, I had it on that it should be. I had like a can and a can't, and I had that as a can. Um, because the way I was looking at this, like what would stop the competition from becoming an aerobic endurance event?
Okay.
So depending on how many rope climbs we're talking about,
Hmm.
because they are just so muscularly taxing, there might be a point where you're like standing there looking at it,
Oh
you know,
yeah, 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 for sure.
and that like you need to have everything kind of come down. And there's a bit of a fear element
Hmm.
in that as well, which is like I need to bring my heart rate all the way down. If it gets below aerobic, then it's out for me. But if
Okay.
it's like, but like in a Spartan race where it's just one, like no one ever just like, no one that's like competing really will come up and like look at it, you know?
Okay. So you say when it gets below aerobic, but so what I'm thinking too is, and I know you said this before when you guys, and I, you know, you kind of joking around and stuff, but when you're talking about replacing the sled at high rocks,
Uh huh.
and
Get it
you're
out.
like, let's put in like a barbell with a clean, right? Or
Barbell.
like barbell with something. Great. But wouldn't you have people just sitting there and going and staring at that too? Like if you're doing
Probably.
30 reps of whatever, and then that kind of reigns. I mean, there's other reasons I don't like that thing, but I'm thinking just to go with
It
that
could
part
be.
there.
It could be. And it could be like, the way I look at that is like the way that the sled has devastated people in the past too. My heart rate comes down on the sled, you know?
Yeah. Well, you're slow.
Not anymore.
No,
Check
nobody's slow anymore.
splits. That's right. Yeah, so rope climb I had as a maybe, and I think that like with the bar muscle up, there is a level. I mean, then we're talking about scaling, right?
Hmm.
Which I think would also be appropriate for a hybrid event to have it be like an RX1, where it's like if you can do all of these things and maintain a high output, then it
Hmm.
should be part of the race.
Yeah,
But
and
if
I
it's
get
like,
you, and I get you, and I'm not when I say it's not a hybrid race or whatever, I'm not downgrading it. I freaking love it. It's one of my favorite things to do, right? And same with CrossFit. I love CrossFit. I'm just trying to work that definition where one is one and not the other, where they
mhm.
bleed over kind of thing. So yeah, I would I'm off. I still being muscle up is just too high skill. Here's
They
one
have
that
that in RX1, right? They'll have ring muscle ups in there.
in the pro division. Yeah. Pro
Yeah, but
division
if it's
will
like,
have
if it's
ring
like
and bar.
5 to even like 15,
Yeah.
right? Like that, like people who are good at them can come up and get
Oh,
rolling and be out of there.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And they're good at like Pro RX1 is CrossFit. It's a long CrossFit race.
But it's a race. It's a
It
start
is a
and a
race.
finish.
It is a race, yes, but
There's no big lifts. There's no like
they
other
still get some they get
elements,
no, they get overhead
but
squats and
not like
snatches
one
and
big lift
no,
outside of
no,
the
no.
the race.
No, you're right. You're right. There's no run around and then do a max lift and then we calculate a score and there's none
Yes.
of that shit.
That
It's
fits my definition.
it's who crosses the line first wins.
Yes.
Yes, and they have just as many judging problems as everybody else.
Of course. Even CrossFit, right? Like we always look
Oh,
at like,
it's
well,
terrible.
CrossFit's doing it. It's like it's tough. It's
If
tough.
CrossFit
And
had
it's gonna be
perfect
tough
judging, if CrossFit had perfect judging, there'd be no Hiller. I mean,
for sure.
the guy's made not a fortune, but he's made a living off no reps.
Made a name.
The
Yeah.
name, yeah, name is that. That's probably the best way to put it. Made a
Probably
name.
that's what I don't know if he's made any money doing
No,
it.
oh,
Maybe. I don't know.
he puts a lot of work into it. I would hope he's making some money.
Nah, be on the grind.
I don't know. Sometimes I find him very entertaining. Other times he's just being a dick.
I don't really interact with his content at all. I don't find that to be like compelling stuff. Being like, look at how bad other people are doing, and I think there's a place for stuff like that. It's a way to hold athletes accountable, and like I don't think it's bad that he's doing these things, but it's just not my not
I
my
th-
cup of tea when it comes to content.
I think some of them the ones, and that's what I say. Some of the ones he does is good, and some of the ones are just him being a twit. But
Yeah,
but I can't watch that. I can't listen to that Savon one. That guy that's just.
he's okay. I mean, like
I can't do that one. I can't do that one.
same. They're like
Yeah, they're in the
I like.
same.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. But it's the same kind of deal. It's like, hey, here we're just gonna say big opinions. But at least sometimes they have opinions. Some of the other people in CrossFit, they're just like saying all the things that CrossFit's great, everything's great, and I'm here for positivity. But at the same time, it's like, do you really think that? And
Yeah,
they're kind of too far on the other direction to me.
yeah. Give me 2 seconds. My dog's going ape shit.
Got you.
My wife let him in the room, and then he got the door closed, and then he's like, "I want to go get them."
It's like I made a mistake.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is not where I want to be.
yeah. So the judging with CrossFit. I'm not. Sometimes we put CrossFit judging up on this pedestal, and it's no better. It's they got as many issues as we do. Maybe it might be a little bit more refined, but it's still got a lot of crap going on.
Yeah, I think where they, I don't know. I think that like most of the CrossFitters that are most of the judges are CrossFitters, right? Of course.
Mhm.
And I think it's just like in classes and everything, and then getting like kind of tactile, like getting called on reps like by coaches and stuff. There's just like more of an emphasis on it than hybrid racing, where it's like you are just basically by yourself a lot of the time, and you're just like trying to get through.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and that's where I go into sometimes where Hyrox and Deca maybe have picked the wrong movements at times too that make this judging thing a problem. But we can talk about that later if you want. But yeah. So for my definition, it's still better than yours. Yours is way too vague.
no way, that's a
Way too
start
vague.
finish
Hmm.
aerobic bias. That's it.
Do you know
You're
another
like
one that
you're putting in too much.
no, because I'm precise. I'm exact.
Trying to be
Jack would
you
appreciate it.
had like it was like a 3 paragraph long definition.
It's one paragraph. This is not even a full note. Here's one that actually got me at first when I was talking about the cardio portion. It was at first I had swimming in it, and then I thought, Christ, you want to talk about high skill movement?
No, for sure. But I mean, like that would be like how running's a skill.
Do you think? Because again,
Yeah.
I can go across the street and I can tell my neighbor run over here and he can run over there, but he's never swam and I throw him in the pool, he's going to drown. That seems
He
high skill.
he probably can swim. This is
He
just
probably won't die.
you just don't like water.
I like to swim. I'm a good
We'll
swimmer.
we'll give everybody a snorkel. They'll be fine. But yeah, I think it's like yeah, it's like the swimmers who know how to do it will be better than the non-swimmers. Kind of the same as like running is with high rocks. Like people that have run and can run have a
Hmm.
massive advantage.
Oh, huge. I
Yeah.
mean,
So I think it would just be the same kind of thing.
here's a quick one for you, slightly adjacent. What do you think about in the beginning of CrossFit games when they always have like paddle boards or swimming or anything like that? Do you like because I'm not a fan of those events.
I don't love the paddleboard thing, and the swimming is like okay.
And then like kayaking and they always throw like a
Yeah,
surprise whatever in.
that's like with CrossFit being like that unknown and unknowable thing, which I did have a piece of that, like what we'll discuss later, I
Yeah,
suppose. And I get like it's just them to me when they start doing stuff like that. It's like, all right, is this a game show? What is this?
it's goofy
You know
game.
what I mean? It's then it's a bit goofy for sure, for sure.
The
When you can't
problem
really prep like
I put it out there to people like, oh no, they say unknown and unknowable, great. And I say, cool, all right, next year they're going to have an ice skating race.
right, right,
It's no different. It's on the same level. By the way,
for
Carolyn
sure.
Prevost, huge advantage right there. Just give
Smash,
her the win.
crush. Who? Oh, there's another. What's Paige Semenza,
Paige
also
Menza,
hockey
she
player.
hockey player. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
There you
Like
go. But
Ohio State or something like that. So there would
oh,
be a
okay.
battle up front.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Those events seem to be it's whoever just happened to do this activity as a child
Who lived by water?
who lived by one. Yeah,
Right. You see, like the Australians, the coastal Australians, that's like part of their culture. They smash. It's like
yeah,
that's not because they train that way. It's because they had this adaptation.
yeah,
It'd be like a 3-point shooting competition.
yeah.
You know, like why not that then? Like the
Oh,
person
maybe
play
a dunk
basketball,
contest in the middle.
the dunk contest. All these 5'6" dudes just going up, like
Well,
no
we'll put
rep.
it like an 8 foot net. It'll be like the 5K.
Will still be no good. 5K, 5K dunk across. That'd be perfect. And then they'd be like, these athletes are so good. Look at these
They dunk
dunks.
11 foot nets. No, is there anything? So, is there any other move that you would want that you would say would be out that you can think at the top of your head? Like, I think, like
That
I
would be
said, any of
out.
those high skill moves, I'm not a fan of. What
I'm
about
okay with
something?
deadlifts. I'm okay with squats. I'm
I'm
okay
o-
with cleans.
I'm okay with deadlifts. I'm okay with cleans. I'm okay with squats. Cleans. The only thing I don't like about cleans is just it becomes this little judging thing with the elbow, and sometimes I keep the arm straight, and it's a bit, what
There,
you know,
there's mobility limitations to cleans. A lot of dudes in particular. How's your front rack? Can you get there?
it's not bad. Yeah, I took a little while, but I can do it now. Yeah,
Yeah. Sometimes dudes are just like holding the barbell up
yeah,
front, and it doesn't. I don't think necessarily standard needs to be like elbows all the way up.
yeah.
I think it could just be hips.
And again, that would, yeah, yeah. And it could be just if you can hold it there, whatever.
Yeah, it's like
Like,
yeah, you're like that. That's not better for you.
yeah, it's not
Like
an advantage to just
no,
hold it like that.
no.
Yeah,
Can't get it to their shoulders at all.
yeah. So yeah,
Um,
I don't. Yeah.
yeah,
What
rope
about something
climbs,
like
pull ups,
hand walk?
like a wall walk,
No,
hand
no, no,
walk.
hand walk. Like the parallel bars they used in the games there,
Oh
and
yeah,
hand
yeah,
walk
yeah,
across. Sometimes you see them in OCR.
yeah. Like the dip. What do they call those things? Yeah, dip bars. No, I don't remember.
I think they call them parallel bars.
Um, they are parallel bars.
I think so.
Um, I think that'd be fine.
I don't think it's super high skill. I think
I don't
that's
think so
just a
either.
strength deal.
For sure, I
Yeah.
agree.
So I'd be all right. Dips, I'd be all right with no problem.
Dips would be great. Judging's tough for that, but they could still.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I used to love the thought of dips being in the CrossFit games and stuff. And then I saw some of the kipping they were doing for it, and just like not even dipping like that, bending over and I'm like, oh
Yeah, it's
man,
like
this is
shoulder to
not,
shoulder to the ring, and then kind of coming up.
yeah,
It
this
goes
is
real
not what
fast too. Yeah.
it's not what I thought it would be. But
So
yeah,
really, there's not that many that are out.
no, it's just like I said, when they get into the crazy stuff, like I said, the double unders, the crossover, a lot of this, I would be fine with one skipping, single six skipping, or even heavy rope skip. No,
Heavy rope.
cool.
Mhm.
No problem with that. And despite the joking around, I don't mind the barbell. I really don't. I just find that the practicality of it for mass events, mass participation events and judging is usually where to me, it just becomes too impractical.
I suppose because you would need judges at that station now as well, where really the judges at the sleds are not doing much. They're just like
No, it's cross the line.
checking your feet on the pole maybe a little bit, moving the
Yeah.
rope, telling you when. They're not really doing much for you. But like
When,
in a perfect world, I think that, or for an Elite 15 type of scenario where everyone does get a judge, I don't see why it would be that much more difficult. If you look, if like a heavy squat, I feel like would be easier to do to see than a wall ball.
yeah, well, I was thinking when you said take that sled out and put the barbell in one, I actually really like the sled. I love it as a concept,
Me
right?
too.
I really do. I know the struggle with the equality of it, but I
It's
love
just
it as a
not consistent.
concept.
It's like
Yeah,
not a fair piece of equipment.
no, but I love it as a concept. It's just push it,
Same.
pull it. It's fantastic.
Agreed.
If I was going to switch it though, I'd switch it with a tire flip or a pig flip.
Okay.
Because again, no form, no nothing, just distance, boom, boom, down, boom, boom, back.
Yeah, I think that would
You know,
work
that's what
for push or for pull.
probably push.
Probably for
Pull,
the
if I
push.
was doing the pull, I would have made it a seated pull.
You're still using a sled though.
Yeah, and it
You
doesn't.
want the because you got those biceps over here. You just want to like
Yeah.
look. So you just want to feature your strengths again.
No, the reason
We're back on the double unders scenario.
double unders and high rocks. No, the reason I like it is because one, you takes away from the line thing that they're having problem with and the craziness. Again, it just becomes a pure pull, pull, pull. And I just think it. I don't know. I think when they first set it up, I don't think they intended for people to walk backwards
I don't think so
in the
either.
sled.
It was
And
just
I,
so heavy.
yeah, and I think that this would have been a better way to do it. If you had a little board there, you put your feet on it, you pull it backwards, run to the other side, pull it backwards. I think it would have been a better move. So I
I
would
think
have
that
had,
I think that's fair. Just make the weight lighter.
yeah, 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 just make it doable.
Hmm.
And I mean, they haven't changed the weight on the weight. They've just kind of changed the setup, and now it becomes feeling easier.
Hmm.
I mean, we've
Hmm.
all done on turf sleds that weigh way more than what they do at high rocks and
Hmm.
feel way easier. Do you,
Right.
do you think it's much like big difference? Is it the carpet or the new sled? Because it's been slowly changing. So
Yeah, I think it's a combination of everything where it's the training, the
yeah,
people putting a focus on it. Like people get it's easy because it's so low skill. It's easy to get stronger at the sled,
yeah,
and like you can train it a lot. Like I've found it's a little bit tough on like the calf and Achilles if you're just going crazy with it. But for
mhm.
the most part, like it's all concentric, so you're not really sore after it. Um,
Yeah. It
but
doesn't crush
yeah,
down on your spine. It
no, yeah, you're not like it's not loaded on top of you. Yeah, you're not overcoming the weight, you're just pushing it. And the new sleds, I think it is that simple. It's like I think the new sleds are the most important factor for the speed of it, and then the carpet. Look at that.
wow, that's
Bang.
cool.
And then the carpet is a factor for sure, but probably less than the sled. Like the carpet, it is just inconsistent. They can be like wet, they can be ripped, they can just be old, and like they're all different pieces. So it's like some of them, like they're just like two lanes usually at a time.
Yeah,
So they probably didn't get all of them at the exact same time.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
probably like rotating these out when they need it. So the carpet's definitely a factor, less than the sled, but it's a factor for sure.
When they first started setting these up, I said you shouldn't have the sleds on the carpet. What you should have is carpet runners on the bottom of the sled that can go on every floor,
Yeah,
and that might be a
agreed.
little more consistent. But I wouldn't
I don't know why they
care.
don't do that.
I don't know, whatever. I keep sending them $1 million ideas. They never do it. Actually, I shouldn't say that. They do some of them, but they never pay me anything.
Right, right. You got to keep these things quiet. You got to just make this a pay to listen.
Hey, man, I still say that the lines on the Burpee broad jump, that's me.
What lines for on like
For
the Elite
judging the
15
Burpee
and the
broad
grid?
jump. Yeah. For judging the Burpee broad jumps. Actually, I can show you the message. I sent that idea to Mintrid. She's like, yeah,
I
we're gonna run with that.
don't believe it.
It's fucking true, man. It's true.
I don't
You
believe
can
it.
even go
Not for a
back and listen
second.
to old podcasts. Been saying it forever.
I won't.
My world. My world. All
I
these
like
things.
the idea of just burpee over the line.
Yeah, the only
That would
problem
make it.
is counting reps, right? That's the only reason not to do it.
Yeah, you would need
Uh,
again. You would need judges, but you need judges on that station anyway.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think you'd be better off doing that
And then
than the way
doing it
they
like
do
your
it.
snatch idea, where it's like
Yeah,
10, walk 10, and maybe just make it
yeah,
40 or 50 or something like that, and have it
yeah, yeah. Just one
box.
at each line would be great.
Yeah,
The other thing I think with burpee broad jumps, and yeah, we're just moving all over the place, but who fucking cares? Um,
there we are.
with burpee broad jumps is I wouldn't have done the thing where you got to put your hands back down where your feet are. I would have made it where, okay, wherever your feet land, that's where they're planted. Sure, fall forward.
Yeah, why not?
And then,
But
yep.
can you like? But then like, are you jumping forward?
No, no, your feet are planted. That's where your feet are for your next burpee. Where you land is where your feet are for your next burpee.
Oh, you're falling forward.
Yep, you're falling forward. So they actually do this. They actually do this at RX1.
Oh, really?
And it does work. Mind you, sometimes they do
It's
the
gotta
jumping forward and people are doing the Superman across the grass.
it's
It
gotta
looks
look
horrible. It's
insane. It's gotta look
terrible.
crazy.
It
Like
looks
just
crazy.
tipping forward. Yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, if you do it this way, feet down, hands down, kind of walk out or flop forward, whatever. But at
You
least
take it away, you take that away, yeah, I guess. But
I don't think it would look any sillier than what we do now.
that's true.
You know,
I
and
don't
I
know.
and I think it would be easier to judge because it's like your feet are there, your feet, you're planted, you're done.
Yeah,
There's no
the
step.
stagger step's been interesting because like it's not I don't really see the advantage. It's like just for optics, I get it, and it's like hard to see if like you're stepping in front of where your hands were. But at the one briefing, they're like, you can't because I started doing reverse stagger. I would step my first foot up to my hands basically, and my
Yeah.
trail leg would be behind my front foot. And I
Hmm.
was like, this is clear that I'm not getting an advantage out of this.
Yeah.
At one of the briefings, they're like, can't do that. I'm like, why? Why does that matter? And I think it's because they want the jump to make sure it's 2 foot.
Yeah.
But even still, I'm like, I don't really even understand that. Like
Who
a
cares?
1 foot takeoff versus two. Like I don't.
No.
I think that would be harder doing a 1 foot takeoff. But I don't know.
I wouldn't care about that to me. It's just like it's just as long as you're not stepping, you're fine. Like
Yes, right. And we've seen people the slide,
Oh
step
yeah.
in front of the hands,
Yeah,
tip
big time.
yourself forward.
Or that first step goes to the hand, the second
Second
step
one
goes
comes
beyond
way
that,
over. It's
then the
like
other
you're
one
gaining a
steps to the
full
side.
step.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen I've seen a lot of beauty stuff. I still think they're getting better. I will say High Rocks has improved massively
definitely,
on their judging, improved
definitely.
massively, but there's still a long way to go.
And they're on our asses for sure. They're like on top of us. To the
Yeah, it was especially for the top 15, maybe even more top 10. But it's the drop off is
yeah,
massive after that.
right.
And it's there's still people really competing hard for age group for top 10 positions and the drop off is like off a cliff.
Yes, I agree.
You know?
When watching a lot of the competition in DC, like they're just volunteer judges who are there all day
Mhm.
doing the same type of stuff, and just kind of like that's hard. It's
Oh,
no sweat, no like no shots at them, but to sit there and just need to judge sled pull all day, you're just gonna zone out a couple times.
yeah.
You're just not gonna
Yeah.
be paying. You're not locked in.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of the lunges now on not coming all the way up and doing the almost a not the duck walk, but not
Is
getting the
that
full
against the
extension.
rules?
It is. It says full extension, yeah.
It does say full extension.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
hard one. They should just take that out
Well,
because
that
like
was another one that I didn't.
everyone's a little tipped over with the bag on their back.
Yeah,
Put
it's
it in the front rack.
I don't mind like them tipped over a little bit back, but it's the knees. The knees aren't coming all the way locked up.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah. And yeah, I've seen a lot of people do it. And like elite people doing it, right? Because
Yeah,
usually those are the ones that you guys are the ones that do it. You guys are the ones that cut corners because you're trying to go so damn fast.
we're going fast, and if we're not getting corrected, like, all right, I guess that's within the rules.
Say it all the time. I never blame the athletes. This is one of the few things I agree with Hunter McIntyre on. You go to what they allow you to do.
Yeah, I mean the internet
Yep.
sure blames the athletes, but I
Yes.
agree.
Yeah.
It's like
You go.
that's on the judges. Like there's a judge out there. It's like
And
yeah,
I don't know how many people on our podcast I've called out for wall balls for not going to depth, but I never blame them. I blame their judge
mm,
because
yeah.
you don't know. I've done wall balls. I don't know if I'm going to depth or not. I can't tell. I can't see.
There's a line. There is a
Mhm.
line of where you have to cross. So if you're getting said, if it's like yes,
Mhm.
then you think you're doing it.
I'm okay. That's
All
why
right,
I still think we need the box. Okay.
where are we? Where are we? Where are
All
we?
right. What else do we have? What else do we have here?
So the difference between CrossFit.
Yeah. How do you differ CrossFit to hybrid racing? And to you, it's just
We talked about the multiple stages, and
yeah.
I believe their bias is in strength.
Yeah, the bias is in strength.
The
But
bias
I'm
is in
not,
strength.
I find that too hard. Like, how do you define how where do you okay, so like my problem with my definition was low skill,
Uh,
was the word low high skill.
mhm.
How do you define that bias for strength?
I think it kind of comes back to the aerobic piece, right? Like where if in a CrossFit competition, clean and jerks at 225 can be done at a rate where you are able to maintain your aerobic like
Yeah.
ability. Where for me, it's like that's no longer aerobic,
No.
right? Not because I'm not aerobically fit for it, but because I'm not strong enough.
Hmm.
So I think it's things like that. It's like, and again, then it's hard to then it's like, okay, well, you're just not strong enough to compete in CrossFit. It's like, yes,
Yes,
exactly.
that's true.
It's like that's where the strength bias comes in. And then I think there's like a skill component that creates like massive bottlenecks
Hmm.
where it is like freestanding handstand push-ups, and then they're always pushing that. Um, so I think that that's a big part of it as well, where the skill makes a major cutoff in terms of like your ability to compete.
Yeah. Yeah, I said, I think the difference is just in the skill to me. Because so much of what, like, I think a Murph is a great hybrid race,
Hmm.
and that, I mean, you say that's, you would say that would be part of CrossFit, but I think a full out Murph race would be a great hybrid race. But
Totally.
to me, low skill, no, but even though it's low skill, there may be people who will not able to do it because of the pull-ups and the strength required to do so. But I
Yeah,
still
I
think it would
suppose.
be a hybrid race because I don't think that's a high skill move. I think it's a high strength move,
Yes.
right? So that's why I still have that in there. Um, I think yeah, it's just this skill. The pure skill level is to me the difference. And that's again, that's why you, without meaning to, convinced me that RX1 was not hybrid race.
I
It's
I
just
don't mind it. If you can keep above that line and be aerobic plus during the start to finish race, we're talking about hybrid.
all right.
But when we start to 405 deadlifts or something, it's like, okay, a CrossFitter could do this
Mhm.
because of the strength bias, but most people cannot compete in that sport.
No. All right. It's too vague for me, but I'll let you have
Thank you. Also the unknown and unknowable part of CrossFit. That's CrossFit. Where I
Okay.
think they're
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
in hybrid racing, and this could change for sure
Mhm.
when new races kind of come out, and potentially, I believe ethics they set their standard and their movements for a season.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
believe you
Yep.
still know what you're getting into, and
Yeah.
right now that seems to be what hybrid racing does is having like measurable and quantifiable markers
Mhm.
that you can return to and kind of chase. Where CrossFit's like, okay, this year at the Open is snatches and burpee over the dumbbell,
Yeah.
you know, where you've never tested that before. So I think that that could potentially change. Um, but right now, I kind of like that. I don't think that would be advantageous for a race to be like every race you show up and it's like Spartan, like you don't know what you're kind of getting into.
Yeah. I like that there is, like you say, I like that there's prep. I like to know that I can practice these moves. I can get dialed in, and I can just, I enjoy that. I think the same way. I don't know if I wouldn't be opposed to a company that let's say they started and they put, okay, we're doing 5K races, right? This is a 5K hybrid race. We have a pool of 40 moves.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be 10 stations, and we have a pool of 40 moves. It may be any one of those 40 moves at the 10 stations. I wouldn't have a
like
problem
a
with that.
like a Spartan race.
Yeah, kind of like Spartan race.
Map comes out on Thursday. And
Yep.
then, oh shit!
Yep.
And then like you finish, and you're like, man, wall balls at that point of the race, that was crazy. It'd be, and I enjoyed that about Spartan race, where you're like, wow, that sandbag, that was nuts where they had that. Um, so I enjoy that element of a competition, uh, but I like that it's also quantifiable and measurable. I think that's what's very appealing to
I'll,
for a lot of people here.
yeah. Well, I'm constantly chasing times. I love the chasing time, chasing time. It worked great for me. I really enjoy it. I just don't think that defines it. I think that's a cool part about the ones that we're doing, but I
Mm.
don't think it defines it.
What's different? What's different from CrossFit, right? Where
Yeah.
CrossFit
Okay.
is
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like
Yeah. I'll give you that. I'll give you
you're
that.
training toward something that you
Yeah.
know
You
you're
don't have to worry
training
about being able to ice skate and race.
toward.
They
One
need
day,
one
not
day.
this year. Not they blew it in Wisconsin. You figure there would be an ice skating rink somewhere up in
Oh
there.
yeah. They got to hold it like, in December. Go back to Wisconsin in
Do it
December. You
like
could do a
like have
beautiful.
it on my actual pond. The
Can Bracken play hockey? You would think Bracken could play hockey.
he's a hooper, man.
I know that, but
They're balling. The not gonna be like that in Texas. What could they be? What could they do in Texas? They should have rodeo, bull riding.
I've
Be
done that.
prepared. Your preparation is not. appropriate if you can't ride this bull. Mechanical bull, probably.
Well, yeah, it's got to be fair. You got to have the same bull.
It's got to be the same bull.
Yeah, same mechanical bull. Like it's set on the same thing, the whole deal.
Same sequence, but like everyone's blindfolded. You can't see what the sequence is, so you
It
can't.
would be a hell of a thing because it is only 8 seconds. I mean, that's very cross.
They can do it. Remember they had that like they've done really goofy stuff like that. Had that hammer thing where they're just like banging on a piece of metal. What else they have? They've had all sorts of goofy shit.
I love that. Yeah, that's the firemen do it, right? That with the sledgehammer, and then they did it at the Spartan Games one time. Um,
Oh
first
yeah, they
time.
did do it at Spartan Games. They call it Heavy Banger. I think the event was called.
Yeah, and it's a certain kind of
Like,
sled. It'll come to me later. Kaiser sled.
and then, is that what it is? And just
Yeah, I
bang
believe
on
it's
it.
called a Kaiser sled, and it's just it's like an I beam in the middle, and you just
Yep.
hammer it through. Like I
Yep.
love that one. That's
That's
great. I
good.
mean,
That's your style. It's grunt work.
just grunt work. It's
You're
no
about
form,
that.
no nothing.
We can have that. We can do that in hybrid race.
That
No
could totally
skill.
be absolutely low
Hand
skill.
him a
Hammer
hammer.
away. Exactly. Looks cool too. And just swinging a hammer. I love that, hitting a tire with a hammer, but I could never figure out a way to make that an actual doable race.
No. Now we're getting real into carnival games where you
Yeah.
hit the thing, have the thing go up, hit the
Yeah.
bell.
There you go. They could do it at
10 bell hits.
Battle Bunker. That'll be fun.
They'll be all about that there.
That's totally Battle Bunker. In the water. Was there a
Blindfolded, swinging a hammer.
was there a worse event than the water bob in Battle Bunker?
Oh my god! And when they like announced that was going to be a thing, I was like, I am the happiest that it did not pursue this event. Like, I mean, that's just something that we've seen with these hybrid events where it just wants to lean into the military side of things
Yeah.
for whatever reason. Whenever like all these games that kind of pop up is like, well, we want to see what these athletes would do in these military situations. It's like, why? I don't. I, how? Why is this interesting? Like,
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't.
I never got it. I mean, I slammed Go so bad when they put the wrestling in the first one. I'm like,
Oh my god, that
I
killed
was
me.
just like, that was just irresponsible.
For sure. And the way that they did it wasn't even like they weren't even doing it in a way that like one, they're like the person could tap out. If you could just do wrestling, do like regular Olympic wrestling, right? Like points on the back, pin
Yeah.
somebody. But don't try to like rip someone's head off where the person doing it doesn't know how to do it. And the
Yep.
person getting their head ripped off doesn't know how to tap out.
No, or
Like
when. Yeah.
or when right. It
Yeah.
was
It's
crazy. They're like, hey, well, at the end, the tip of the spear is violence. It's like, shut up.
and then that's how you win it too. You do all this other crap and then just you have to wrestle for it.
That was so annoying. That was so
Yeah.
annoying. But
Yeah.
whatever.
I went off on that one. That was a big one for me. I'm like, you know what? If you told people ahead of time, fine. I don't give a crap. They know what they're
That
getting into. But not knowing ahead of time, that is just lambs to the slaughter.
and even like the way Spartan Games did it, also stupid, but that was like a little bit more safe.
A
Whoever
little bit
falls
more.
down,
Yeah,
right? Like
touch the ground, you're
touch
done.
the ground, you're fine. It's like sumo wrestling, fine.
Yeah.
Like I'm surprised they haven't done that at the CrossFit Games. Even CrossFit Games, how goofy they are, and how they are still steeped in like some military stuff. They've never wrestled, but
No.
they wanted the GoRuck took it there. Maybe this year because GoRuck's going to be apparel sponsor. Maybe they'll be out there wrestling. Maybe they're in their ear. It'll be cool wrestling. It was great for our event.
Fight. We're gonna fight. And see.
All right. What
All right.
else?
So here's one. I don't know if I wrote this.
So you don't think you wouldn't so like if it was multiple stage racing, if there was 3 races, like a trifecta in the same day, whatever, or whatever, it could be multiple days. I don't care.
But they're all races.
They're all races.
Yeah, I buy into that.
Okay.
Yeah, I buy into that. I think you could have a multi-event hybrid race. I mean, the whole thing would be a different competition, but each one's yeah, I could buy into
Like
that.
one could be in the pool, in and out of the pool.
Yep, totally.
And one could be like very much rowing, very much biking, and one
Although
I
say the swimming is too high school, but that's okay.
Nope. Everybody can do it. Doggy
What if it's
paddle
like
your way there.
What if it's like tethered swimming? Or in one of those swim spa treadmill things they have. Ever seen those? There you go. That's safe. We're there. Just
swimming in one spot. That would
Yeah.
that'd be super entertaining. Not that
That's
swimming's
very
not the
good,
most.
very
Yeah, swimming's not entertaining enough. Just make them not move.
Yeah. All right. So having your definition in your mind of what a hybrid race is, then when we look at you and I both vote on the top 20 hybrid athletes or hybrid
Mhm.
racers or whatever the case may be. How good a job, by your definition, do you think we're doing at that voting?
At the voting, I mean, well, we're basing it around the events that we have, the way I think of it, right?
But what happens is, with your definition, a lot of CrossFit events become eligible for that competition.
I suppose what like Murph? Like what do you mean?
But
Like
well,
what
so
would
if you watch a CrossFit event, right? If you're watching CrossFit on the games or whatever, many of their events, by the definition that you would use, would be considered a hybrid race. So you would have to put those people in. And then if you do a definition like Matt does of, hey, I here's the problem I have with it.
the parking
We're
lot?
he calls it the we're voting on the hybrid athlete, right? The best hybrid athlete. And I think that's where our mistake is because the best hybrid athlete is probably Jeffrey Adler
Right.
or Laura Horvath, right? Or somebody who can do a 500-pound deadlift and then run
And
a
that's when like
5 minute mile.
Carly Wopat,
Carly Wopat,
that's where she really comes into the conversation for sure.
right?
It's
But you
like
can't,
general athlete.
yeah,
Yes.
you can't quantify it without any form of race results. And who like, and there's so many. Where do we get the people from? Just Instagram, right? Who do you know? So that's why, in my mind, we need to be voting on the best hybrid racer.
Racer. Are we not? That's what I'm
No,
doing.
I think that's what I do because I have my definition and I vote on my definition. That's why I stopped putting the RX1 people in there.
That's
But
a hybrid race.
no, it's
God,
not in my mind.
and Canadian.
Too
Goodness,
high
what has
skill. I know. And that's how
happened to
much I
you?
believe in that definition.
Oh
I've
my
axed
God.
the Canadians. By the
We're
way, that Marjorie Lassard, I think she came like 200th in the Open.
Is she one of
She's like the best RX1 girl.
the best RX fans? Say, I don't know anything about it. So you should be
Yeah,
pumping
yeah,
it
yeah.
up
I
more.
used to put her in 20th all the time. She was under just,
Also getting votes.
yes, also getting
Um,
votes.
no, I'm voting on Racer.
Yeah. But see, when you talk about the way Matt does it, and he's like, I want to know who's in the sand lot and can jump into anything and
Well,
whatever.
that's stupid.
Yeah, that to me is not because it's not quantifiable,
No,
right?
no. Yeah,
So
then you're outside of sport. Like we're talking about specific to the sport. And I think people when they give us grief on the post, are like, "Oh, this is great, High Rocks and Decafit rankings." Is like, yeah, that's kind of what we're doing. Like
exactly
we're talking
because
about the sport part of it. It's like, sorry, the goofy games don't count that much in our book, but like they
I,
just they're not like
yeah,
part of a sport.
I try to take certain parts of the Goofy games into account. Like for example, the grit games. There was lots of part of that I took into account because they were races. They were legitimate events, right? There were some things that I took away and then some things that I included. But it makes it really hard when you're picking bits and pieces.
It's not a non-factor, but
No,
it's
no.
not like
It's yeah.
no, you're not jumping to the top
Yeah.
from
So in
one
my
game.
mind, to be honest, as a whole, we're doing mediocre at best.
Based on the definition of the rankings, because it's athlete and not racer.
Yeah, based on the title
You're
of
in
what
the
it is.
semantics. You're
Yeah.
way in
I mean
the
this well, see,
that's
that's the thing. The people online, if they come at you and they say, hey, and because I've actually commented back to the people online because I'm the only one who doesn't put Hunter in first place. So I get nicked on this all the
you
time.
don't have Hunter in first place.
Nope.
Who do you have? Alex?
Rylan.
Oh, you like Deca though. You favor
Ah,
Deca.
no. Here's the thing, and like I said, I've gone through it before. Hunter is far and away the greatest high rocks racer going.
Uh huh.
No doubt about it. 100%. Sorry, aside from yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah. But this is all he's doing. That's it. That is
Uh,
literally it. He's doing like 3 races a year, maybe 4, and he's doing fantastic at it. Rylan is arguably the best, or at least top 3 in DECA.
mhm.
And you could argue right now he could be top 3 at High Rocks. Dropped off a little bit lately because he hasn't done anything in a while,
Uh-huh.
but he would be top 3 there. And then all the other, he won the what was the one down
The Alpha Warrior thing.
Alpha Warrior. He won that, right? Which until they put in the tug of war was very much a hybrid race.
That was the goofiest shit I've ever seen.
Oh, and wrecked a great event.
Terrible. So
Wrecked
stupid.
a
I
great
know.
event.
I know.
Like,
I mean, that's up your alley because that is like hybrid of like functional fitness and OCR.
yeah. Oh, I
Like it's
loved it.
combining those two things.
It was great. And then they put that thing in there and I'm like, oh my God, just why? You had it. You were
Combat.
there.
We must have combat.
Combat. Oh, well, at least they didn't give him fake knives and guns. But
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I have him first because Hunter, albeit everybody can say he'd smash Deca, he'd smash this, he'd smash this, but he hasn't. And I'm not ranking what people can do. I'm
Uh-huh.
ranking what they've done.
Uh-huh. That's
So
fair.
that's why I have him there.
The argument makes sense, but it's like it's just the level of these events where whoever's best at like the premier event, I feel like
Mhm.
just should count a little bit more.
And that's why I still have him right up there,
Yeah.
right? And, he's world champion. He's world record holder. So I still have him in number two,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
But
Well,
just
like what would be? I'm trying to think of what would be a like it'd be if you were the college basketball player of the year, and then
mhm.
but like you'd never ascended to that level in the pros, but you're like, but he was still really good in this lesser,
Yeah, maybe.
not
But it's
great.
still the thing is, yeah, it's not a great thing because it's the other one because Deca is still open to whoever wants to do it, and a lot of the same people are doing it, right?
Yes, yeah, that's why the analogy doesn't work great. I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to figure out something better.
The problem is I'm right, and you can't get around
It would be like it would be here we go. It would be like if you factored in the CrossFit Open when ranking like the CrossFit athletes
that. Hmm.
as equal to the games.
Mm,
It's like this is a premier, this is a harder, more like prestigious event, but you still won this other one that you beat this person at a different thing, basically.
I would agree if it wasn't a feeder system to the one, like if they were completely separate, but one is actually a feeder system to the other.
But you still won one. You still beat the competition in the open. And then you go to
Yeah,
the games and you're like 15th. And you're like, but they won the open.
but
So I'm actually
that's
going to put them
like
in fifth.
that's like winning a major and then not winning at Worlds and High Rocks.
No, it'd be like winning DECA. I think it's more like winning DECA.
Ah, it's too
I don't think it's
different.
like
I,
what
I'm
any,
I'm like I'm not gonna argue. Like High Rocks is definitively a more difficult event to win than Deca. I'm totally on board with that. I absolutely do, and I
yeah,
even favor it more. Like I don't like when I'm my voting, I favor it more, but I do take Deca into consideration a lot more than most of the other guys.
you do, which I
And
appreciate.
but I mean, there's when I look at it and I look at the people who are competing and how they're doing in High Rocks and stuff and how they compete against each other, and it is a lot of the same
Again, it's
people.
a factor. It's a factor. It's like
It's
this.
a huge
It's
factor.
another thing. Like I think I knocked athletes for doing poorly in DECA for sure.
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah. Well, you took
I
a
would
huge
drop
hit.
them.
You took a huge hit after the one.
I just take my lumps in these rankings, man. I'm all over the
You
place.
are the biggest up and down.
Major swings.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's up? You got no consistency in training. Who's your coach?
I just know where to pick my spots. All right,
Well, it's good.
hybrid athlete versus hybrid racer.
Hybrid athlete hybrid athlete versus hybrid racer to me is a very simple definition. All right. Hybrid athlete is like to say anybody running or swimming or doing it and lifting at the same time. Anybody who wants to call themselves a hybrid athlete, great, cool.
Right,
You
right.
are. You want to be a hybrid racer, you got to go fucking race.
You got to race.
You got to
You're
race.
an
And that's the
athlete.
difference. I think I heard maybe you and Kent talk about that one time, and I remember just sticking it out in my head. Like I think it bothers Kent that
Bothers can't.
so many people are calling. Well, you know what? They can be hybrid athletes all they want. They're not hybrid racers.
The word athlete is a little bit like strange for this because it's like a marketing term now where people are like, yeah, you competed in like a marathon, but like, are you an athlete? Like, I don't like, you're not really competing.
So
You
that
ran a
yeah, that
marathon.
that becomes the gray area. When do you become an athlete?
Yeah, right.
I mean,
I
I could,
think
I could, I could look at myself. Am I an athlete? I don't know. Like, yeah, I do a lot of races, but I'm predominantly I'm doing age group and shit like that, right?
you're still out there competing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
in
consider myself
against
an athlete,
yes,
right?
against other people that are doing the same things that you're
Exactly.
doing.
Yeah, so I consider myself an athlete. But if you're just in the gym and like you say you're a guy who deadlifts 500 pounds and runs a 5 minute mile, but never competes at anything, are you an athlete?
Right, exactly.
So I don't know. Does competition affect the definition of
The
athlete?
title, I think it should. I think
Yeah,
it should. Like, and
that's
that's a
why
like. Go
that's why I
ahead.
like the hybrid racer one because quite
Mhm.
frankly, you need to race to be it.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not
Hybrid
racing.
athlete sounds cooler,
It does.
but it does,
It
and that's
does.
why it's like I think hybrid athlete is more of a marketing term. Well, obviously a marketing term, but it's more of an aesthetic.
Hmm.
It's like a look that you want. You want to be like ripped, and but like also still like muscular.
So you think it's
So
like
you
a
have to
body
lift
composition
weights.
thing?
I do think that's what it is.
Well, I'm not a hybrid athlete.
No, like and I've almost never trained for aesthetic, never in my life. And like there's a byproduct that happens from this type of training, but like the hybrid athletes who are selling it that way, they look amazing. They're completely ripped because they are like doing bodybuilding type workouts to build their body to look a certain way, and they're doing a lot of aerobic work to keep their body fat down. So there you go. That's what they're selling. And I
By the
had
way, by the
what?
way, as a personal thing for me, I love lining up against those guys that are
Oh
just
yeah.
absolutely shredded and then smoking them. I remember
And then
before Deca Strong and age group, I looked around. There's a lot of friggin' jacked up dudes, right? We're getting ready to go, and I walked over to Ivan Milan, and you know Ivan Milan,
oh yeah.
and I went Ivan. I said, Ivan, let's show them what real monsters look like.
Ivan would be like, I mean, you look, he has size for sure,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but you're not like this dude's about to wreck all these other jacked guys. Like
No, no. I've said it before. He looks like everybody's nice Ukrainian uncle,
for sure, for
but
sure.
he's just a beast.
He puts out a machine's grit better than anybody in the
Oh,
sport. I
oh
honestly
yeah,
like I think Marcus Wallace can hang at that level.
yeah. Like
Hunter probably could too,
when
but
yeah, when you see him on the rower too, and he is so relaxed and just
he knows what he's doing on those
yeah,
things
yeah, yeah. I
for
mean, yeah,
sure.
yeah. He can take like 60 seconds on the lunges and still walk away off the rower ahead of everyone.
And he's
Like
won strong 2 years in a row now.
for age group, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. He was I ended up fourth. He was I think he did like a 12:40 on that course or something like that, 12:40 or whatever. And
On that
he was
course, it's
he
really
was
good.
I think he was the only one sub 13
Hmm. That age
for
group's tough, man. You're in a tough age group. 40 to 44 and the 45 to 49. Those age groups are hard.
one more year.
Then you're up.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, yeah.
It's still not going to be easy.
It's not. I tell you right now, none of those age groups are easy. Like
Uh-uh.
it, like the yeah that one I'm in. It was crazy. So I missed the podium by 4 seconds,
Ah.
and then behind me, I think the next three or four guys were like 6 second spread.
Oh wow.
Like
Really? It
it,
was
it
that
was
tight?
just super cllose. Yeah, yeah.
Dude,
So it's
watching the heats at Deca is really fun. Every heat all weekend is so competitive. And everybody's like is like so proficient in everything. They put in the work and then it's a battle out there.
so here this goes right in the next question because I totally agree. If from a viewer, a spectator sport live, I would way rather watch Deca than High Rocks. But you put it on TV with the current production values, and I'd
Hmm.
way rather watch High Rocks than Deca, obviously. So in that, what can High Rocks learn from Deca, and what can Deca learn from High Rocks?
Huh. What can Hyrox learn from Deca? Well, I mean, just like the big one is just the quality control, the
Hmm.
consistency, of course,
Yeah.
and I think that the way that Hyrox is just set up, they're having a hard time doing that just based off of how big the event is. But Deca's locked in, man. I mean, some courses are going to be a little bit different, obviously. Like the Dallas course is a good example. Like the shit was like
It was a little more narrow, yeah.
super narrow, but um, but for the most part, like you can come away from Deca and be like, okay, this is generally
A couple
what
seconds here and there.
a couple seconds here or there, right? And like maybe not always consistent, but so I think that's something that Hyrox could really take from Deca. Um, and I'm saying the obvious ones, right? I
Yeah,
think
that's cool. That's cool.
that's very obvious. And from Deca to Hyrox is like making the event feel like something.
The production.
The production for sure. And I mean, I don't know, like just I don't know if it's something they just never thought. Like I'm sure they've thought about it, but like just doing something a little bit more special, something like build things up a little bit more.
I
I
have to
wish,
think I have to think it's a financial thing. Like High Rocks
yeah.
really dumps the money into the production, whereas Deca is their Spartan budget,
Let's
right?
pop these
That's
things up. Yeah, I wish
you know,
both companies would put athletes in their appropriate age group buckets. I don't know why.
Oh, you
You
mean at the starting lines or?
at the starting line.
Okay, yeah, yeah, I'm down with that. Yeah,
Deca for sure. I don't know, like Deca, it's like it's either elite or you're just kind of like open, right?
yeah,
Or it's like competitive. But it's like it's always a mishmash. And I think it's like evolution of athlete is like, all right, let's go through this event. It's really hard. Let me train. Like, let me take this event on first, and then it's like racing the actual event is kind of that next step. And most of the athletes in the age group, they don't get a chance to even do that until a championship race. So they have very
yeah.
little opportunity to grow as an athlete because of that. Like, so I wish that that was the case. But I mean, but again, if you're awesome in your age group and like you're competing against age groups below, whatever.
I think as a guy who's an age group guy, I would much rather be lined up with like seven other guys in my age group than, hey, yeah, it's great if I get to line up with you guys. Great, cool. I'm lining up with the best and I get to get my ass kicked by the best. Cool. I don't, it's there is learning experience and I'm going to run my best when I run against the best.
Right.
But I'm going to have more fun if I'm competing against my division. If
That's what I figured too. You know where you stand.
Yeah,
You cross the line. You're like, wow, I got either fourth or fifth. You're not like I either got second or 20th. Like
yeah. Like I've had some great races in all sorts of different races with guys I know who have competed against for years, been because we've gone up through age groups together, and it's always awesome because you know where they are. You're pushing you. You're having a good time. I mean, it's like if you get to race Kent or someone like that, right? It's that same deal. And
mm,
when you put us all out there in just a big mashup, it's like, who am I racing?
I know. I wish they would do. I wish they would. Both companies would do. I think Hyrox does a better job of that because at least they're putting in like the same genders, and like generally you might be out there at the same time. Deck is just kind of like, go on out there, ready go.
And I'm sure sometimes, especially with Deca, that is a case of maybe we just don't have the numbers set and ready to do that, or people have
No,
signed up for different timelines. But I mean, obviously they
it
did a
would have to be
world.
someone's job, and that's not something that they're
No, because everybody's already doing four jobs,
right.
so they can't possibly do enough.
Right. What do
Yeah.
you think on this one?
So I think obviously for me, Deca 2, the biggest thing is I think they should take away from Hyrox is look at the success they have now had with the production values of the live streams and how much attention they've got. And I think it makes a big difference. I agree with you. I'm totally on the actual event itself needs to be done. I also think Deca needs to take away the treatment of the elite, the top. They need to make a bigger freaking deal about it. They like Hyrox is all who's the elite 15, who's this, and they're promoting it. They're promoting it. We're paying attention. We're watching. You're trying to just get into the elite 15.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even know how many people qualify for Worlds a decade.
Right. I mean, yeah,
You
that's
know,
just like that's just something that's not going to happen, right?
yeah,
Just
but
because it is Spartan, like
that's one of the things I'd like them to take away is to make a bigger deal and make it more special. When you guys were at Worlds, you know, Craig, give them some shirts, give them some swag. It's not expensive, like just cheap crap, like whatever. But make a big deal of
something,
it, right?
something. I know, I
Yeah,
know.
it's
I agree. I just can't because I feel like Spartan went that route. They tried to make this big deal with the athletes, and now they're like, actually, this isn't making us any money. Like,
yeah,
so now they're probably looking at this like, why would we do that? What we did here, over
mhm,
there, we're just not gonna.
yeah.
Um,
So that's when I take as far as High Rocks from Deca. Yeah, you're right on the nail on the head on the consistency of courses and also the fixing a qualification system. The qualification system works for Deca doing just times. It doesn't work for High Rocks doing just times.
no, no,
And
I
I
don't
mean
know what they're gonna do.
that's well, I mean, I've thrown it out there many times what I think they should do. And again, it's super simplistic, but it's make the majors open, make five of them, top three from each one go on to worlds. If there's already qualified, you roll down to the next three.
Mm,
Shoot, score easy.
hmm.
And then you want to do they want to do the reason they don't do that, I assume, is because they want to do the grid
That
for
would
the
hurt
majors.
production value.
Yeah, it would hurt. But we'll see how that works if they do televise the LCQs
Yeah, there's
because they won't be on
supposedly
the.
they're gonna.
Mhm.
That's what I've heard. I don't know what they're gonna do, but or anything. I've never heard anything official, but
I don't think
um,
it'll hurt it that much. And I think it would make it so much better because then no one will care about if this course is fast and this course is slow, and they don't have to try to do the impossible and make them all the same in their different venues.
mm,
And yeah, there'll be if you one sled beside the other one's not the same, that's a big of an issue, but it
barbells.
solves their biggest problem they have,
Yeah, no,
right?
and I don't know. I don't think they know. I don't. I'm worried that they don't consider it a problem.
Yeah, I know. And I've had people tell me this, like the argument I've heard put forth to me is, well, who should be in the Elite 15 that's not? And I'm like, you can't just say that because you don't know. But what I
Right.
can say is, and I think you've said this or at least hinted towards it, is without huge roll downs, Dylan's not in it.
Yep. Palaio's not in it. I'm not
Palio's
in it.
not in it. You're not in it. So it's not so much a matter of who should be there, shouldn't, but it's a matter of who's there that maybe wouldn't have been,
Yeah,
and then who's to say that somebody like a James Kelly would have been in there in different circumstances, right? You can't say when it changes. All I know is if they had a chance just to race each other to get their way into the worlds, then the right people are going to get
I agree. I 100% agree. And that's why I would like it to be you race at a qualifier that will qualify you for a major. Like you race your way into the majors. Like New York and LA are
there. Mhm.
qualifiers top 7 or whatever, qualify into the North American Championship.
Yeah, yeah, I'd be down with that. Yeah,
Something
yeah,
like that.
yeah. Any way that is race your way in is great. And I'd even be all right with the majors if they had like not anybody can go in it, but anybody who has a time under, you know,
Like
70
a
for
like a mark.
guys, like a
Yeah.
mark, but like a high mark, like that anybody legit could hit.
Yeah, there should be some kind of standard.
It could be like 65 for guys, 70 for
Yeah,
women,
I think
right?
that's fair.
Something along that. Because even if you have a
Mm-hmm.
bad course, an elite hybrid racer is going to hit sub
You go under
65.
65.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. So that's the thing that'd be with them, and that kind of solve that. I think that's just so simple, and I really have no idea how they do it, why they do
And
it.
there's like people send me some stuff sometimes about like because all this data is available, right? So now it's
Mhm.
like, what was the fastest course, like run course? Like, oh, uh, what was the one that just happened? Oh, Copenhagen.
Copenhagen.
This course was
Mhm.
the fastest run and
Yep.
rock zone course of the entire year,
Yep.
right? And it's like, okay, well, shouldn't that like why is this? And that's the people who are at this on the elite level. These are not elite 15. Like, how can we just be like, okay, they're just great, they're just good now? Like these guys have not run this fast. No, they just did.
Yep.
And the fastest station course has been Maastricht.
Oh
And it's
yeah.
like, yeah, it's like, okay, like you guys are just measuring shit wrong. Like this is just not measured correctly.
I am
Like,
really hopeful in Toronto that I can go walk around with a wheel. I'm gonna see if they'll let me.
ooh, yeah, just do it.
Oh,
Just
I'm just gonna show up and just start doing it, right? And see. I mean, I
yeah,
know I know the people running it, right? So maybe they'll let me get away
just
with
like
it.
act like you should be there.
Oh, that's what I do all the time.
Yeah, you're good to go.
I might put my hard hat on and just go, what
Yeah,
are you
just go
doing?
with some kind of vest on.
Fault lines? Yeah, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, just regulating.
All right. So one of the biggest problems with high rocks is still judging standards. So we'll talk about this.
Okay.
How would you fix the judging standards for them? And
Um.
I'm obviously they are improving, but the only three stations have a problem: burpees, lunges, wall balls.
Uh huh. Uh huh. Outside of the things we've talked about, like the change, like and not changing the movements,
Mhm.
fixing the actual judging. I don't know. This is a good question. I haven't put a ton of thought into this because it's just like I feel like that it is just such a challenge because they
Because
are doing it better. It's just going to take time.
yeah, because
I
we
think it's
bitch we
just
bitch about it all the time, but like I always figure if you're gonna bitch about something, you should be able to offer
all right,
a
and
solution of
that's where
some kind.
and I'm like that. I'm like, hey, like it's on the like we see officials affecting sport all the time,
Mhm.
all the way up,
It
right?
does
It's
that.
just like going to be kind of like part of the game. Like I don't find it to be the reason I think it's a problem is because they're still going on times. And if they
Yeah.
just like took out the times, but it's still not fair. Like one person next to another person and one judge is more lenient than the other. What do you think about the technology, the AI,
Targets?
like the targets? And I heard that they were going to have some sort of camera sensor that's going to be able to. I think it's just the robots are going to do it for us at some point. They're going to
So,
call it.
oh, I thought you mean the robots were going to do the wall balls for you. No, so back on like our third episode, we had E-Rock and Mintra and stuff on. So like
What?
2020, yeah, yeah. And E-Rock said at that point that people are working on a sensor where they could judge the depth of the thing. Because I said at that point that I think that will be very difficult to judge, right? Because
Been on it since day one.
anytime I hear squats, it's been like that's like the worst move for any kind of judging. Because one, I don't like the way they word it in the rule book, but just it's such
Which
a hard
part?
thing to say. They
The hip
say
crease below the knee.
no, it doesn't even say crease. It says hip below the knee. What part of the hip and what part of the knee?
It says hip below the knee. I thought it
Yeah,
said hip crease.
no, that's CrossFit. So
Huh.
we all just assume that it says the same thing, but it doesn't. It says hip. So
Huh.
it's like what part of the hip below what part of the knee? I personally I like bottom of the ass below bottom of the knee.
Low bottom of the knee, meaning like like below
Yeah,
like
yeah,
your
essentially
top of your calf.
your crease of the knee, right? Yeah.
That's a little higher too, I think, right?
I think it is a little bit higher. Yeah.
I think that would be fair. That'd be
Yep.
easier.
Yep. And it's easier to spot because it's a lot
Yes.
easier because that crease
The
on the
crease, you're kind of
top.
looking across the body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and everybody's so many people, especially people with big quads, like they're so rounded.
True, true.
And I mean, you look at Danny Spiegel, right? Like her thing, she's been struggling with that because one, I don't think she's going deep enough, but two, yeah, her quads are huge, so it's deceptive in the look, right?
Yeah, 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 for sure.
And then a lot of people don't point this out, but people with really good ankle mobility and their ankles go far forward and then their knees go closer to the ground. And then even though their ass is like nearly ass to grass, they're still not technically hip below the knees because their ankle mobility has come so far forward.
Interesting.
So I mean, like I'm just looking at the body mechanics of it, and that's why I think ass below the knee works.
Huh. And if they had sensors, right, then I guess you could just plug one on. Like, I guess it could be a wearable. A wearable would be a problem because you could lose it. But if it was like two cameras that would like kind of follow,
So did you see the out or what's it? Were you? I don't know. No, in DC they were wearing a different outfit, like it was a new kind of Elite
who
15
was?
outfit, the
Oh
Elite
yeah, yeah.
15.
Uh-huh.
And I think there was a line on the shorts around the pants, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, you can actually see better with it. So like,
Maybe they put us in uniforms and it's just
yeah,
like
yeah.
you can
Just
visually
like, well,
see it.
I'm still for it.
I
I'm still for it, and I'll say it to the end of time. Put the box down. 14 inches or 15 inches for
my
men, 13 inches for women. It's fine.
the thing is just it already looks silly enough. We already take so much flack. We're not I'm not if we had to squad to a box, I don't think I would do it.
Really?
If this sport started and they're like, and
If it
all
was there in day one, you would never have noticed.
like this is dumb. I'm not going.
No, you wouldn't. You
I
wouldn't.
wouldn't go.
I
I'd
don't
be
believe lies.
I'd be
Full of
like,
lies. Why are you always lying?
I'd be like, this shit is dumb. I'd be like all these CrossFitters online talking shit. I'd be like, not doing it.
I told you. I think I sent
Squat
you
to
guys
a
the video. Like
box.
CrossFit used the box in Dubai.
No, but that was a different movement. The deck squat, that's more of like
Doesn't
an
matter. You're doing the
accuracy.
same thing. You're
That's
squatting down
not
to a
the
point.
same thing. That's like the jumping up and down.
But just think, okay, so if you had the box with a sensor on the box, a sensor on the wall ball, bang, 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 no issues.
Stupid.
It's not
It would,
stupid. It
it would look
works.
so
It
lame.
works.
It would look worse than ram burpees.
Do you know what I actually saw when they were doing the 24.1 announcement?
Uh-huh.
They showed this old video of the workout they made them do before the 24.1. I don't know.
The 165 clean and jerk,
No,
6 minutes,
the one
4 to
that was
6
like the
minutes.
one that the four women did, and it had some kind of name that sounded
Oh,
kind of I
nasty
can't
girls or
remember.
something like that.
Nasty Girls,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. That's why it got so many hits online because it was called Nasty Girls. They in the video they were squatting to a med ball.
Oh, I did see. And they were flying. They were
Yeah, they
going
were flying. They
so
were squatting to
fast.
a med ball, and I'm like, it didn't. Nobody cared. Nobody said that looks too goofy. We can't do that. Hell, they brought it back.
No, I
I
don't
will
like
die
that.
on this hill.
I don't like that.
I've got Tara's back on this hill.
I'm waiting for technology to come save us. And then just like, I don't know, like the more familiar judges become, I think a lot of it is just like it's hard no repping people.
It's very
It's
hard.
just like everyone's trying really hard and it's hard to be the bad guy, even though like you need to stand for it. You need to be like, here are the standards. And most people are like, I just want this person that I'm watching to do well. They're trying so hard. And like,
Yeah,
but I think the more familiar these judges get, like I think training.
I think training would be huge, and I think again better wording on the rules would be better for both brands. To word some of the things, and again to give judges keys. The lines on the Burpee broad jumps have helped a lot. I think
Hmm.
they've made a big difference, and I do think honestly, if they put the Elite 15 in shorts with lines on them, man, it
Why
would make a
not?
big difference. It would
Why
work.
not?
It would
Yeah,
help a
just
lot.
like
Like
half
as a judge,
tights.
the sensor I think is going to help. if it
I think the
works.
sensor will help. Apparently I didn't hear any negative about it, but it was only on a 3 to 4
Hmm.
targets.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think it's a good idea. I know they tried a different kind before and it didn't work very well. This one seems to work better.
Yeah, I don't know if sensors could work on burpee broad jumps. BK was saying something like that. It's like put
Oh,
a
the
sensor
the
on the
like the
wrist and the
wrists and
ankle.
everything.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
maybe.
I
I don't
think I think
know.
the lines work. They could put more lines and like half them even still because you make it even a little bit closer, but I think it's fine. I don't understand why everybody struggled so much with the Burpee broad jump rule when they said a forearm. Well, one, okay, there you go. Saying a forearm's length, it's just daft. Don't say
No,
forearm length.
it's not.
Say
It's
30
one
centimeters,
foot.
12 inches,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever you want to do. Either of those is fine. Great. But yeah, that they need to clean up some of the wording in the rule books. And that's another thing that I've mentioned to them. Hopefully. And they listen. I get response. So that's all I can ask
They
for.
change things. I
Yeah.
mean, it's usually season based.
But
But
it
they
probably
will.
should be season based.
It should
Like
be season based. Yeah.
that's something I've had problem with Decade this year where they changed the rules midway through the season.
Oh, that's Spartan always.
Yeah, yeah, like,
Spartan will
oh, here's the
just
one.
yeah.
And to be perfectly frank, I had a part in that helping make the new rules. But
And yeah, it's like you don't have to change it now.
yeah,
They
but
went ahead. They loved the idea.
yeah, yeah.
Thanks,
Well,
Dave.
I mean, they knew they needed stuff done. They needed stuff done. I do like, and again, I'm going to take credit for this, putting the bike seats at 0.
That is a good call.
Yeah. And that was because that was from 2022 when they decided you let you guys go out and adjust them
Yep.
so that you had your bike. And then again, you can listen to the podcast we did with Yancey before Worlds. And he said, we're not doing that this year. And I said, well, why don't you zero the bikes out? Because then everybody's got to adjust it.
Yeah.
And they didn't actually for the first, was it your guys? Some waves, there was a first wave or whatever. They didn't do it. And then they started to do it.
I don't remember. I was on a different planet at that point, and I
Yeah.
don't remember if I had to adjust a seat. I don't think I did because I just came right in after somebody.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
was getting killed. I was getting killed that bad that somebody was out already. So I came in, popped on their bike. Because I guess that would be the issue with that. But
Yeah.
whatever.
All right. So if you had to, here's the thing. If you had to make your own hybrid race, just a quick
Uh
definition, how would you set yours up? What would it be? Or what are some of the movements you'd use? And thinking that this is a
um,
mass participation event too. So you got to make it practical.
wouldn't
Because
be mass
the one you
participation.
guys made, when you guys made that one for a
The
racer,
short
it was
course.
great. Like the one that Heather did and Lauren did. That was
Mm-hmm.
a great workout. But man, that's not a practical race.
Had rope climbs. Had clean and jerks.
Oh, I love rope climbs. I love rope climbs. Clean jerks.
I
So
think
ground
5
over,
rope climbs. Huh?
5 rope climbs. I'm down with the rope climbs.
There
Legless
wasn't
or
a
no
ton of
legless?
running either. Whatever you want. Gotta have legs. I usually go legs. If I was to, how would I, I don't even know, man. I don't know if there is a, is something that kicked around a bunch of times. I don't necessarily think the order or the movements are going to change that, are going to like be groundbreaking at this point,
Yeah.
but like personally, I mean, I'm a runner. I lean running. I like that running is so
I'm
heavily in it.
I'm good with the running heavily in it, even though it doesn't favor me. But I like the
Nice.
heavy running it.
Yeah, like I'm okay with like even like that ethics event that is like what is it 1K ski 2K row 4K bike while the other athletes
5K
running
run,
on a
something like that.
5K.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I don't mind having like the heavy machines. I think that'd be cool. There's not great to watch. I would want more barbell. I would want more dumbbells. I would want bar muscle ups in there. I would want it to just be. I would actually
So you want RX1?
I want RX1. And it would
Yeah.
be something like instead of like 1,000 meters of ski at a time, it'd be like 1,000 meter run, whatever, however long a run, and then 3 rounds, 250 ski, 10 dumbbell snatches. So you can see what's happening within the stage still.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
can,
I like, and again, Hyrox has helped it with the monitor picking how long, how far along you are on your ski and your row and stuff. And that's been a great deal because man, watching people on that thing for 4 minutes not knowing where
shit is
anybody's
boring,
at is
dude.
boring as fucking
Yeah.
hell.
Yeah.
And it's helped. It's better, but it's still a long, boring part of it. Like that's why I maintain that entertainment wise, I'd rather watch a Deca than I would. Uh, and actually,
Less in and out.
I'd rather watch a Deca mile
Mm,
like that
less
that
less
Deca
running.
mile at Worlds. Super exciting.
Mm.
Close finishes, fast action. Everybody's moving. I know Matt bitches all the time. Oh, they're in and out of the box in like 30 seconds. I'm like, yeah, it's fast. It's exciting, right? I loved watching that. That's to me is that's my favorite hybrid race to watch.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where it's there's not much that can even happen within the stations though, you know, because how good people are getting. What is I'm trying there's an example here that I'm trying to think of that like everybody's just good.
Yeah, like a good box overs is probably like 32 seconds and a bad one's 34.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Same
I
like
get what
sit
you're saying.
ups and
But isn't that what
lunges
we
or
want? Isn't that what we want? We want everybody close? Like,
it would happen anyway. That's naturally what
yeah,
would happen
yeah,
as the sport. And that's, we're going to see that with high rocks too. It's like everybody's going to be about as fast as they can be on all the stations, and whoever's the fastest runner is going to win.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it'll be whoever can maintain. And then
Yeah.
it'll eventually it'll be everything will be unbroken.
Uh huh.
Like
Yeah.
sled push will be unbroken, sled pull,
Like if you
everything will be
everybody's gonna
unbroken.
do two flat, like 155 to like 205.
Yeah, yeah. And but
Like
that's when you know your sport has gotten there, is when
yeah,
everybody's that dialed in. So
for sure.
I look forward to that. And it'll be it might not quite be like a track where it's that close because there's so many different aspects and mistakes can be made, mistakes can
It's
be made,
long. It's a longer
and it is
event.
longer,
Yeah.
but it'll be much closer. I mean, like it'll be like I could see a lot of 10-second finishes and stuff, and like the whole Elite 15 on the wall balls at the same time kind of deal.
Yeah. I wish they would change. I wish they would finish with a run. I would finish with a run my event.
I'm with you.
100%.
I had designed a whole event, right? Was gonna
Let's hear
do
it.
it, ran into problem with actually I had the venue,
Oh,
everything
you were
ran
gonna do it. You
yeah,
were
ran
gonna
into
do it.
problem actually because we were doing charity one, ran into problem with the freaking charity setup.
Oh my
And
god.
then I'm like, I have a full-time job. I can't fix this. I don't have
Like, do you
time.
want this or not? Right.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm like, forget. So event, 400-meter track, which again made only sense to me. Why none of these people are on 400-meter tracks, I have no idea. So it was going to be a 400-meter track, and on the track as well was a rope climb. So every time you did a lap, you have to do the rope climb. Um, First zone, so you do 400 meters, rope climb in the middle. First zone was a ground to overhead with the dumbbell, with the step forward every time for each rep, so that you can hold it overhead. The next one was, and then
How many reps?
I had it for, I think that one was 30 reps.
50 and 35?
Yeah, 50 and 35 for 30 reps. Then the next one was, I think that one was surrenders. So instead of lunges, it's sort of surrender
Uh-huh.
essentially. So weighted surrender, sandbag on the back, both knees to the ground, stand up, walk to the next line. Both knees to the ground, stand up, walk to the next line. Again, so nobody has to count reps. You get it on each line. And I believe that was 30 as well. I had a tire flip in there.
Mm,
And that was going to be 300 for men, 200 for women. Pounds, not distance. Had
mm,
a
mm.
sled pull. I didn't work out the weights for that because weight would be dependent on the the
The
grass essentially,
surface. Yeah.
surface.
Right.
Um, had a heavy slam ball shoulder carry, so you pick up, carry it with shoulder, put it down, pick up, carry it with shoulder, put it down. And sorry, my bad. That didn't have to be shoulder. That was bear hug up to the
Okay.
front, and that was
Okay.
heavy.
Like
Um,
150.
yeah, yeah, it was 150 and one. So I was
I like
that
that.
one. And then what else was there? I had the burpee broad jumps in it as well, where feet planted. I think that was it. I had
Tipping forward.
tipping forward, tipping forward. Yep.
Just
Feet
tip them
land,
over.
you go tip forward, timber. Away you go. But at the end of it, instead of going for another lap, so after the rope pull, the sled pull with the rope was the last one. It was a seated rope pull. After that one, you got up and it was like a 80-meter sprint across the edge right down to the end. So you'd
Mm.
kind of finish like if it was on a football field, right? You'd finish in the end zone. So
Uh-huh.
your rope pull is at one end, kind of get off the rope pull, loop around, and straight down. Not on the track, on the inside of the track.
So a
And then
proper kick. Just
proper
one
100,
big kick.
yeah, 100-meter
Wow.
sprint. So
You need
yeah,
the run at the end. The run at the end has to happen.
I love the run at the end, even if
Yeah.
it's short. I told Yancey, I said I thought that even Deca Strongs and Miles should have like a little finish line, 2 feet in front of where you finish. You just set the ram down, and you run across the line.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, no,
I agree.
I like the run to finish. Yeah, I don't know which if it was you guys that came up with that at first, but I just thought, yeah, a run to finish that pure sprint is just great.
We talk about it with Spartan all the time too. It's like the A frame and you walk, jump over the fire. It's just like
Yeah, it's like
anticlimactic.
20 feet, and yeah,
Yeah. It's
but
not like if they gave it 200, 400, 800 meters to kick it in, it'd be
yeah,
really exciting.
800 would be a bit too much. I I
Come
guess it's
on.
like a full half mile.
So what?
That's your running preference. No, no, no.
Yeah,
One
finish
to
with a
two, one to
thousand.
two,
Start.
200.
We'll just start on the ski, and then we'll
Finish
just
with a
finish with
thousand.
the.
That's a even you guys. That's like a 3 to 4 minute run, and too
And it
long.
gives people time. You can see people coming.
Yeah, too long, too long.
Whatever.
Need like 30, 40 seconds at the most.
200 meters. 200 meters.
I'll go 200. 200 is okay.
All right.
All
Deal.
right. All right, man. I kept you long enough.
I appreciate you having me.
I've proved you wrong on everything. That's all I need, you know. Barbells suck.
Please.
They hurt my finger.
The definition's been we've made the definition aerobic bias, start and finish. Skills are fine.
What we've done.
Let's let people develop their skills. Okay. Quit you don't believe in the athletes. You don't believe in the people that they can do muscle ups if they try. They can do double unders if they practice. The people can do it.
No, they can't. We're all
They
useless.
can do it.
We are absolutely useless.
Bias aerobically versus 7 paragraphs of you push some. You can do 2-legged squats, not 1-legged squats.
That sounds right.
Sandbags with handles, not without handles. Too much you got going.
By the way, I did do pistol squats today that were actually legitimate.
Nice.
Yeah.
If you hold a weight in front of you, have you tried that with the counterbalance?
Yeah, and I can do that easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I'm really heavy up top, so if I can't put my knee forward,
Just too
fall
yoked.
backward.
Get on those calves. Get on that foam roller.
Oh, dude, I got huge calves.
That's what they're all tight.
Yeah, well, that's true. But
You got
all
cows
right,
down
man.
there.
So we've done what we always do is we spent a lot of time talking and solved absolutely nothing. So perfect. Awesome.
Great.
All
There will
right.
be more podcasts.
Thanks for tuning in.
See you, Dave.